time to correct it, and then I forgot about it later. Sorry about that. We'll move on. VK3BVJ. Good morning, Victor.
VK3BWI, VK3BVJ. Good morning, Bill, Rob and John. Thanks very much for the broadcast. Received on the AM, 160 this morning at 5 and 9 plus 10. Very good. 80 was 5 and 9 plus 5, and 40 was 5 and 9. RWG, the input was 5 and 2, and the output was 5 and 2. And RMM, input 5 and 1, output 5 and 9 plus 30. And RML, input 5 and 9 plus 30, and the output 5 and 9 plus 60. And RMU was 5 and 9. Thanks very much indeed for the broadcast, gentlemen. VK3BWI, VK3BVJ.
And thank you, Victor, for your usual most comprehensive report. All noted. VK3 X-Ray Tango Juliet. I'm afraid I can't put a name to the call sign, but good morning. I will take callbacks now from mobile and portable stations. Okay, I'll catch you later. VK3CF. Good morning, Leigh.
VK3BWI, VK3 Charlie Foxtrot. Good morning, Bill, John and Rob. And thanks again for a good session this morning. Reports, 160 metres, 5 and 9 plus 60 as usual, back on AM. Fine business signal to me here this morning. Thoroughly enjoyed it. 80 metres, was up and down like a yo-yo at this location. Started off at 5 and 8. Dropped to 5 and 5, and at the finish was 5 and 3. Whereas Ron PRT is only, about a mile and a half away from me. He reported at 9 all the way, so something crazy goes on the ground wave to me, that's for sure. 40 metres, 5 and 9 all the way through, and old Rick still pumping it out at 5 and 9 plus. RMM and RML, both 5 and 9 plus, 100% quieting. Yeah, good news on the 7 meg setup. And all I can do is wish everybody 73. VK3 BWI, VK3 Charlie Fox. Hooroo.
Yes, thanks for all that, Leigh. Reports like that are quite handy sometimes. Yeah, it's a funny thing, that 80 metre propagation, isn't it? Okay, VK3AVY. Good morning, John.
Yes, good morning, Bill and others on frequency. Good to hear your dulcet tones back on the broadcast again this morning, Bill, and a very interesting broadcast it was too. 160 metres 5.9 here in Ferntree Gully, 80 metres 5.9 plus 5. And in contradistinction to Leigh, it was steady on 5.9 plus 5 throughout the broadcast, which is rather interesting. 40 metres I could only give 5 and 7 to, however, and fully quietening on 2 metres through RMM. I didn't check any of the other repeaters. Just out of curiosity, Bill, where was a 160 metre broadcast coming from this morning? Have you got the old girl back in commission down there, or was somebody doing the relay? Just be interesting to know. VK3BWI, VK3AVY. Good morning, all.
Yes, thanks for your reports, John, and gee whiz, I didn't realise you'd missed me. Yeah, about 160. No, it's not the old one back in commission. We're still waiting on a transformer. I think we have one, though, and we'll know for sure sometime within the next hour or so. That was a relay, and well, at the moment I'm not at liberty to say from where, so I hope you understand there. Break?
Yes, quite understood, Bill. Just my vulgar curiosity. Thanks. Cheers.
Okay, John. Catch you later. VK3WEG. Good morning, Bill.
Yes, right. VK3JO replying to the group. Just make sure we're all right. Good current. Loading seems to be a little bit less. Might be just because the thing hasn't properly warmed up. Probably not making any difference there. Field strength meter seems to be down as though they're still wet. But good morning all. VK3JO replying to the group. Jack, VK3EB, all good, well, signals as usual. That interference we had yesterday, I think that's about all you could call it. Dogs had stopped, so I thought I'd wind up the gain, but I was still close to the microphone. Yeah, that interference we had yesterday, a bit annoying really, because the chap didn't want to be identified. Gave him the opportunity, but of course, which is what I expected anyway, that he wouldn't come out and identify himself. There goes the dogs again. It's maddening to, or rather, closer to the microphone again, because of the renewed dogs. It's interesting to conjecture just exactly how he was doing all that. I wondered for a time whether he was using or getting somebody else with a remote receiver to pick up your signal, and Jeff, and put it back to him over 2 meters. In the past, I presume he's the same bloke that does the rebroadcasting of BWI, and that has been done through one of the repeaters. He could pick that up and rebroadcast it. But yesterday he was rebroadcasting you there, Jeff, and I think I don't think he'd be using a 2 meter link for that, and it just makes me wonder how in the world he managed to pick up your signal at his own place and put it out on the same frequency, so that I don't know how he's done it, and of course he's not open to explaining, because he won't give a call sign and identify himself. But I just wondered whether he's developed some sort of a radar technique, of course, where that sends out a pulse, and the receiver is switched off while the transmitter's on, and then that's automatically switched on when the transmitter's switched off to receive the reflected pulse. And I suppose if he applied that sort of modulation to his transmitter and receiver there, he'd probably get away with it. But judging by the background noise that was coming through underneath your voice at this end, he was, I don't think he was receiving quite as good a signal as I was from you. But anyhow, since he wouldn't identify himself and let us into the secret, well, need I say any more? But it's quite interesting to conjecture how he'd do it. Pick up on the frequency that you were on and transmit on the same frequency. Anyway, it does seem as though there is something fishy there about your oscillator or equipment up there, Jeff, because although when he did take heed of what I was saying and keep off the air and give you a chance to perform that test, pulling out the crystal, well, your carrier disappeared and there was nothing else there, nothing there. But of course, previously when you'd done that and he was rebroadcasting it, well, of course, I could hear your voice, and I was a bit too dumb to realise that, well, yes, you still must be transmitting. But anyway, so something funny going on. But I hadn't detected anything there as Laurie had at all. Anyway, I think that's about enough for me, and I better put it over to Jack and let him have another say. VK3JO is changing over for VK3EB in the group, and good morning to any other listeners. VK3BQM in the group. VK3EB returning. Yes, final round. And I want to go to Herb's statement there. On the rebroadcast of your transmission, Jeff, on 160 metres, I found it a vast improvement, and I thought the fellow was doing an excellent job. I've always thought you had a faulty connection there, and your power was intermittent, but it's been down in strength, consistently, and only came up in strength apparently, according to what Herb's saying, with the retransmission. But strength-wise, you weren't so good this time as the previous time I've worked you on 160, and you were only sitting on strength 2, and you went up to strength 9 plus 20 dB, so it was a good signal that ways, but there was a lot of hash on the signal. It wasn't crystal clear, in other words, but much easier to copy than the strength 2 signal. So it suited me quite well. So you can draw your own conclusions there. I'm just looking at a magnet here that has a little tantalum capacitor. But the fellow up wherever he's located here was doing a pretty good job on Jeff's signal. And you didn't try that sloper I recommended that time, Jeff, and that might be just the ideal thing for 160 metres.
Digging back into the past, I doubt if you ever used that slogan, top of the AM dial. I don't think you indulged in the old 200-metre operation, not as far as I know. There we are. It's characteristic of one of the 200-metre fellas, isn't it? The way it's set out. However, the great mystery. All I can hope is that because we don't tumble to it, somebody will finally tell us what it's all about. Yeah, okay, Charlie. There about your noise, the way it comes and goes, and just quite obviously it's something that gets switched on, isn't it? It rather looks like that. Have you ever had a word with anybody from the RI's branch about it? Or VK3WY in the group, VK3HZ by?
VK3ACR in the group, this is VK3WY. Okay, fine. No, Murray, probably, I don't know whether I talked a lot or whether I didn't, but probably I didn't say anything that was worth commenting on. That's more to the point, Murray. As a matter of fact, I think I was more occupied in welcoming Charlie back than anything else. Incidentally, Charlie, it's very good to hear you had the good holiday. I've never actually stayed at Sale, but been at Bensdale. I had a friend who moved from, he was next door to me here, and he moved down to Bensdale to live. And he reckoned that it's a wonderful spot all around that area. They claim that's what they called it, the Riviera of Victoria, didn't they? And he says down there in the winter time it was always about 5 degrees higher temperature. I think that was, he was talking in all Fahrenheit terms, but it was always a higher temperature there in the winter and a lower temperature in the summer. And then, of course, as you say, Charlie, around that area, it's a very good centre point for getting out to quite a number of places which have considerable interest. So, well, that's very good. And I hope you enjoyed yourself thoroughly. Only about your noise, Charlie, I'm glad it went out while I was speaking. I hope it's gone out again or kept out while I'm speaking now. I was saying to the chaps yesterday, I think it was on Sunday morning on the WIA broadcast, I heard someone asking for reports to be sent in of noise, I think particularly line noise, power line noise. I'm not sure if it was to be sent to DOC or sent to 3QQ, who's the coordinator of those sort of troubles or investigation into those sort of troubles for the Institute. But on the other hand, I think you've almost decided, Charlie, that it's not the power line, it's sort of general industrial noise, haven't you? Anyway, might be worthwhile doing some checking, as Murray suggested. Henry, on the ATV, well, I haven't looked very often over the last few weeks, but more often than not, there's nothing to be seen. And as a matter of fact, the only station I have seen over the last few weeks is 3YLH, and I quite agree with what you said. He's got a very, very good picture there, and his colour is excellent, and all in all, it's a very, very good effort. As you said, though, Murray, I think the difficulty with all this ATV stuff is getting sufficient new stuff to keep the interest there. Once they've got to the point where they've got an excellent picture up, for instance, 3YLH's case, he's got a lovely picture, hard to see how it can be improved. Well, what does he do next? I don't know, he's perhaps got a more fertile imagination than I have, and he'll probably think up something to do. But I think for the average bloke that does it, they tend to run out of I suppose, program material, particularly when in the majority of cases the program material is restricted to stills. So, well, it's a sort of self-defeating thing in the end. Oh, Lynn, I'm sorry to hear that arrangements or plans that you had for the other house have got to be shelved. That's bad luck. When you plan things out, think you've got things nicely teed up for the years ahead, well, it's tough luck to see circumstances spoil it. Still, hope you'll be able to utilise that in other ways, and that you'll be able to get back, perhaps not to normal again, but to a reasonable state of affairs where you are, Len. Glad you're not feeling too bad yourself today, so well, that's good, and I hope your wife will be not very long before she's home with you again. I was interested to hear you, Murray, talking about learning how to play your VCR. You almost need a special license to run those things, I believe. Perhaps that's one reason that I've been a coward and haven't indulged in one. One thing I was doing this morning, I was looking at specifications for a 2-meter antenna. It's just one of the verticals, and it's what they call a 3-step collinear ground plane. Reckon it's got a gain of 7.8 dB over the normal quarter wave ground plane. I don't know that one. I was looking up Dickie's catalogue, but I can't see any reference to it in that. I was just wondering what the connector is. I haven't looked up the ARRL handbook or any of the other things yet, but I might have a look-see a little bit later on. But this M/J is a new one on me. Incidentally, Jeff, my throat seems to be getting a little bit the way yours was. You can tell that you've got a cold there, but your voice doesn't sound raspy. I'm quite sure mine does at the present time, because it feels that way, I can assure you. Sorry your wife struck the cold too. That's not bad, not good, because if she's not used to getting these sort of things, it comes as an extra shock, doesn't it? And I've no doubt she'll go and consult the doctor, and he'll tell her, oh, you've got a bit of a virus. Or if he's honest, he'll say, oh, well, you've just got a cold. So, any case, I hope you're both a lot better very soon, Jeff. Well, okay, that's enough from me. Charlie, I hope you can still hear us. VK3ACR and the group. This is VK3WY.
I think you put it over to me, Bob, VK3EN and the group VK3ACR. Well, gentlemen, terribly sorry about this, but I heard halfway through your over there, Murray, and about 2 minutes of yours, Bob. So I haven't heard anything. Henry, didn't get anything what you said. When I went off, the thing was going, and I haven't heard anything hardly since. So it's so bad that it cuts out everything, and there seems to be a noise which is, what should I say, about 10 over 9 or something, 20 over 9, and then it's modulated periodically. Another noise comes over the top of it, which would be about 40 over 9. So I don't know if it's the system of the pilot arc or what it is, but see, so the whole problem is I'm so close to all these factories, and there, I'm not kidding you, there's be 100 factories, I'd say within, well, a quarter of a mile, no, less than a quarter of a mile, much less. All over, not so much around me, but all in one area. And I think this is where my trouble is coming. It may not be even through the air, it may be through the lines and all that sort of thing. But I'm definitely in trouble. So I will make this my final. It's no good to me just sitting here, you know, just listening to a heap of noise. I'm terribly sorry about that, but that's the way it is. Bob, yes, well, I was a bit reluctant to going down to Sale because I thought, well, it'd be so dead, there's nowhere to go and nothing to do and all that sort of thing. But I was really taken with the town, so was Vi. My sister lives there, and we stayed at her place. And, of course, we used that as our headquarters and just went around the place up to the Glen Maggie Weir, which, by the way, is flooding its banks and all that sort of thing now. They've got the gates open, and it's very spectacular to see the water tumbling down, and you can walk right across the dam there. And there's some very beautiful spots around that area. And down at Sea Spray, I have never been down there before. We went to Golden Beach, which is getting along to Port Locksport, that's right, getting along there. And you get blown over on the beach for sure, but it was still very beautiful. And in each case, the sun was shining, and in the car, you know, you had to keep the windows open because it got too warm. Henry, that was bad luck. We couldn't make a decent contact while you were down there, but we got through enough to get a word or two. But I never thought to mention before when I was speaking to you over the phone, I have got here a 5-element Werner Wolf, a 5-element Werner Wolf 2-meter antenna, beautifully made, and if it's, if you've got a place to put it up, well, you're welcome to it. I was keeping it here, and just in case I want it, but you seem to be in trouble there, and you should, with your position, you should have no problem at all. There was others listening in to you down there, and they all came back to me, and the different ones, and wanted to know what sort of an antenna that you were using, because they thought that you should have got through much better than what you were. And when I told them that you had a ground plane, they said, well, righto, an antenna would have made all the difference in the world, and it would have been no effort. So I think it would widen your scope, Henry, as far as the availability sort of thing as outlying stations on 2 meters. And the Warner Wolf thing is a beautifully made piece of equipment and a good antenna. So you might, it's no good telling me over the air here, because I won't be able to hear it anyway. The rotten noise has beat everything. So, gentlemen, I won't hold it any. I think you're there, Jeff. Good morning to you, and also you, Len. I haven't heard a sign of you, but I understand you are there. So I'll say cheers, good morning to all, and hope to see you under better conditions next time. VK3 ACR signing clear, and it's over to you, Henry.
VK3 ACR, VK3 ES. Has the noise broken, Charlie?
You mentioned my name. What you say, Henry?
Has the noise broken?
Oh, no, it hasn't, Henry.
Right, good. Well, okay about the antenna, you'll be able to read between the lines anyway. Well, that's an idea, and I haven't got any material here, as you know, to construct an antenna of any description now, because all my bits and pieces are all gone long ago. Now, what have I got now? There's going to be a FET amplifier placed on the incoming signal to the repeater, and that should lift the signal considerably as soon as Peter gets round to it, and they get the FET. It's going to be installed, I believe, and that should give the incoming signal quite a boost, and that's really what it wanted. Right. Well, now there's a group called the PLI, and that is the group that you report your interference to. But as you say, Charlie, well, you won't hear anyway. It's local noise. Well, I wouldn't like to live with that noise, although I did for quite some time here. It was really bad, and I tried various telephone numbers to get onto the people concerned, but I didn't have any luck. Nobody wanted to talk. So, well, I had to let that go. Now what, something else now I had here. Oh, I forget. Oh, Len, about your problem there too. Yes, it's going to be a real problem actually for the wife and for yourself too, because that's changed all the conditions now, hasn't it? But not being able to get about, I know that too, because I've had my fair share of it. And only as late as last Sunday, I didn't do too well. So I thought I was going to have a repeat of the previous one that I had, but no, it passed off all right. But these things come when you least expect them. Now I gave the approximate number of the ATVs that I had contacted. So it was quite a few. But as you say, at the present, there's a lack of them. And well, the only ones that I've heard is OWL and our friend 3AHJ and 3YLH. They're about the only ones that have been on. And I have it on quite frequently with the hopes of getting something. Now, in regard to the VCR, Mario, will get yourself a tape and put it to work and find out what it will do. But you want to get hold of one of these stereo model sharps, and I think it'll be a long time trying to understand just what to do and when to do it, because there's so many changes to be made for the different modes that you could easily make a mistake and press the wrong button, which I did once. And unfortunately, our friend up the road there, which I know very well now, he's a Frenchman too, and I asked him to come down and see what the hell I'd done. So all he did was press a button, and everything returned to normal. Well, you can imagine how I feel to be caught like that. But, well, after you press all the buttons that you can see, and you miss one, well, then I think there's a reasonable excuse. But I'm getting quite a lot of enjoyment out of it, because I usually tape, towards the year 2000, while I look at another program, which I follow, and well, that gives me time to play the next day, and if it's worth keeping, well, then I record it on the tape set aside for the information which I really value from the year 2000. And by Jove, lately it's been jolly good. All right. Well, I think that lets me out too. But Charlie, if you're still listening and the noise might have let up, I'll give that some thought, Charlie, because I have got a place I can put it up right up next to the ground plane, and of course it means pulling the antenna down, but I'll persuade David to come over sometime, and we'll make the necessary clamps and give it a go. I think I've got enough cable to make a new run, because I got a drummer cable from our friends up with a T initial. They gave me about 50 or 60 feet over. Take it or leave it. We're not going to cut it. So I just paid for what I wanted. So they've been very good of them. Right. Oh, Charlie, I'd be interested in what happened. What happened to the car on the way up? I got all that, from you when you were speaking to Neil, and about the way it was performing, and then just what the net result was, because it appears that after you got to sale, then things rectified themselves, because you did all those trips after that. But you did have a little bit of bother, I think, on the way up. So I'll be interested to learn a little bit more about that. Right, well, that's it for the moment. And I think I'll sign on this, chaps, because I've run out of steam. So do you, Jeff. VK3AUX, VK3EN. Oh, Jeff, before you go, am I right?
You keep going.
Right. Well, I'm making a comment on it, and Charlie, if you can hear, there's some people that have come round on Sunday night and come right round the back here and plastered a yellow sign with VK3EN, the top of the AM band. And they plastered it on the two front windows, the bedroom window and the lounge window. And they planted two of them on the back windows here at the back room, where the radio is. And both Murray and I are very keen to find out what the idea was. And at the same time, they placed it two down there on Murray's. So what the idea was, we don't know, but we'd like to find out. So the guys that did that, make yourself known, chaps, because we acknowledge we're beaten. We haven't a clue as to where it's come from. So let us know, will you? Righto, Jeff. VK3AUX, VK3EN.
Yes, VK3LV in the group, VK3AUX. Yes, that's a bit of a mystery, that one, isn't it? There's a new station on about 89 point something going to start, I think, in the Hyatt area. We had a leaflet left in our box to that effect, a community FM radio station. I think they're running a trial around about last weekend there, but I didn't think about it then. Had these sickness problems on her hands. Yes, I wonder if any of your neighbours got any of them there, Murray or Henry, or whether they were just plastered on your windows there. Yes, could be another broadcast station coming on there somewhere. Okay, Henry on the, and Bob rather, on the seeing YLH there, and the very good colour that and picture he's putting out, very nice. And yes, as you say, I just remembered yesterday I turned on just the set and went past the ATV channel and there was nothing there. So, but winter time possibly may not be suitable for some of the chaps, particularly if they've got outside shacks. Could be a bit on the cold side, and maybe they're not brave enough, not as brave as they are in the summertime, put it that way. Yes, Len, okay, on not being able to walk 20 miles and so on there now. Yes, you can find a base all right, aren't you, there? And it's not so good. Anyway, we'll just have to wait to see what transpires there. Okay, I'm still being a learner on the VCR there, Murray, and having a bit of a tinker around in general. Yes, quite good fun. And I'm just wondering, poor old Charlie with his noise, it's rather frustrating, isn't it, that sort of thing, to get on and not be able to hear what's going. It's very, very bad. And I hope it's not ladies' vacuuming time at 11 o'clock in the morning around that area, or it could be industrial noise, as Charlie says. Certainly very severe, high-level stuff, isn't it? Still got the old thermostat in this area that comes on every now and again, and it's very, very strong, and blots out even strength 9 stations. The other day it came on when you were talking, Murray, and I had difficulty in even hearing you, even although you're so close, and of course you have the meter actually well over past the pin, so just shows you how strong it is. Good morning to you there, Don, if you're listening. Hope you're not bogged down with the wog like we are in this household. And okay, on that area down in Gippsland being a bit warmer in winter than some of the other areas about. And some of the area that Charlie went through, I covered, Joan and I covered with travelling when we were staying at Inverloch area there, and sort of went to every direction possible, as it were, to look around, Wilson's Prom and all the rest of it, and the mountains that Charlie spoke of near behind Yarram, Tara Valley and what have you. So it was very, very nice. MJ Connector, yes, don't know that one at all that you're speaking of there, Bob. But there's quite a few odd ones, aren't there? And goodness only knows what it looks like. Okay, in the throat getting a bit raspy there, Bob. And my wife came back just during the course of the overs there, and complete with capsules, and the doctor said that she got the flu like hundreds of others, so she's starting on the medication there. Okay, on Charlie's Wi-Fi, having a sister that they stayed with down at Sale area there. Sea Spray is one that was mentioned. I must confess I haven't been there. Usually when going past that area, one's in a... I've been in a hurry to sort of get from point A to B, come back from Sydney around that way a few times, but always wanting to get back to Melbourne, so I haven't gone off the main road to sort of duck down to those isolated areas and beaches and things. But must have a look around there sometime. Yes, you have a lot of fun with your VCR, don't you there, Henry, and have a lot of fun with your collection of 2000 and the others that you've kept. And I hope you can throw light on the stickers there. And that antenna that Charlie's offering, it'd certainly point the signal in the direction you wanted it, wouldn't you? If you a vertical beam like that would really put a stinger of a signal out onto there, particularly with your linear that you've already got, and you'd ought to be able to pound that repeater whether it's open or not to the area. It's a bit marginal for us fellas, but you with a beam and that height, you ought to be able to sting it pretty well any time, I should think. So that's very interesting. Okay, well, I'll say cheerio all, and good morning to you. VK3AUX signing with the group, and over to VK3LV. Cheerio, chaps.
VK3LV to the group. Well, okay all round, except that I lost a little bit. The last part of Charlie, I think it was, had a telephone call and had to switch the receiver off because it's in the next room within a, well, makes listening on the phone a little bit uncomfortable. However, it wasn't very long. Anyway, I'll get it on again. Well, pleased to hear from everyone. I'm not sure what my movements will be like. I've got a car in here, but I don't drive it, and I haven't driven it for 2 years. I wouldn't be... well, I'd be a bit scared to drive it into the city. Anyway, some relatives live nearby might run me into a hospital later on, or later on this week. I don't know what the possibilities are. Anyway, I think we'll sign off on this over. Wish everyone all the best. Sorry about the noise, Charlie, but fortunately I don't get much noise trouble here. Now and again something comes up, and when it does, it can be crooked. But none today. I've been able to copy all the way through, no troubles at all. So I think I'll sign on this over anyway. See you with any luck, and later on in the week, probably on tomorrow. VK3, I'll be concluding with the group, wishing you all a very good morning, Thanks for the various comments. Yeah, fully appreciate. But as somebody said, I'm certainly tied down these days. Well, that's about all, I think. So VK3LV concluding with the group, and over to V8Z, I think it is.
Okay, Len, VK3WY and the group VK38Z. Yes, I hope you still continue to get good news about your wife from the hospital, Len, and we'll have her home before too long. VK3WY, Bob. Yes, apropos of Charlie's noise, I don't think it'd do any harm, Charlie, to contact VK3QQ, the Institute specialist on such matters. He might be able to suggest a course of action for you. There must be some way of getting at that. It must surely create some interference with broadcast radio receivers. If it kicks up so much here, and if it creates interference with broadcast receivers, well then something should be doable about it. I know nobody worries about the poor old ham, he can look after himself, but they don't worry as much as they used to about broadcast interference. Not was one time they used to have to collect their licence fee, which people wouldn't pay if there was too much noise, but there we are. Yeah, Henry, VK3EN. Incidentally, Henry, the recorder I've got is not stereo, but it is a national and quite a natty sort of piece of machinery. Doesn't worry me the fact that it's not stereo, because I regard that as really only necessary for musical stuff.